supplies for Meals on Wheels, she bought enough supplies to give the Sunshine Club enough stuff to carry on their
Well, that
lunches.
was Dennis's money.
No, sir.
No,
I'm sorry.
It was.
Janice, it was, because Janice kept the profit off the Meal on Wheels.
In other words, the city wasn't involved at all?
No, sir, city was not involved in it.
I'd like for you to check with Miss Betty, Miss Mayor, please. I'd like for you to check with Miss Betty, please.
Yeah.
Donna?
I talked to Betty Donald on the phone, Mayor, on the speakerphone. Miss Betty Donald told me over the speakerphone in Heidi's office, I'm saying this for my own self, not the club. She said, yes, we will furnish you your coffee and your supplies. Now, if Miss Betty Donald has forgotten that,
Well,
Heidi was there also when she said it over the speakerphone.
Where's the money coming from?
I don't
We
know,
don't
Betty
know
Donald
that.
works for the city, I don't know
That
where
was
Betty
the
gets
thing.
it from.
This is starting to get a little bit argumentative. I'm gonna ask that we get this gentleman the information that he's asked for.
Thank you,
Let's do that.
thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Ford, anything as a citizen tonight?
No, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Holland. Thank you. Okay, and everybody else works here. We'll proceed with the business at hand. First on the agenda is appointment of a chief bill inspector for the city of Saraland. I'll open this up for discussion or a motion.
Use discussion on it. I believe we're kind of messing up doing it this way. And then we're supposed to have a hiring freeze, promotion freeze going on. And we're not actually replacing a vacated position, we're actually putting in another position, which is what, I think, two places higher than what King was. I don't think Vic Platt was chief building inspector. I think it'd be our best advantage to hire somebody replacing the position that we vacated. Give them a chance to prove themselves, learn our system, move them up the ladder as they learn it, rather than just jump the gun and put them in the top spot. That's my opinion on it.
To ask the point on this, why didn't we bring this up before we wasted a Saturday morning interviewing these guys?
Joe, I think I did. Mr. Coleman, Mr. Rubenstein, both talked to me about it. A friend of yours wanted a job.
Okay, now let me go
Okay,
ahead.
I don't have a problem with it. Let me finish.
No,
Let me
okay,
finish.
you go ahead and I'm gonna.
I said, I don't have a problem with who interviewed and all of this. I have a problem with the big raise he got.
Well, to go ahead and clarify something, if y'all know he's my friend more than I do, my wife don't even know the man, first off. So where he came out being my friend, I'm not sure. So,
This is,
Don't be
new
pointing at me.
I mean, I met the man.
Yeah, okay, well,
I knew he was
that's
an
what
inspector.
Newt was telling me, a friend of yours is,
Yeah.
All I knew was up for the position, I actually waived the position we was hiring for. So I don't know who's actually up for it.
I brought him to so you could meet him.
he didn't come with me, you met with me.
Right, and I told you I had somebody that had expressed an interest, I'd like you to talk to him. And we met him here on a Saturday morning.
I think I just met with you though, the first time. And you brought it up.
And asked if you
I
knew.
told you I didn't have a problem with the gentleman, I didn't know him, but, I had a problem with, and I think I told you that I had a problem with a big jumping salary. And what, yes,
Yeah.
you do remember that.
I didn't know what he made at the time, but I thought he made more than Kenny Winkle did as a building inspector
Yeah,
too.
about $10,000, a little better. And anyway, you're talking about a raise, this is a new position anyway, it's not a replacement.
But we ordered a list. I mean, we sat and talked about this one before it came out. We-
But you had a hiring freeze, are you gonna take a hiring freeze off?
You need to go back to when we actually went to the personnel board and we talked about this, and it was discussed.
The personnel board was open, this position was open 2 years ago.
That's correct. Let's go back historically, and I'm gonna talk a little bit about historically. This position was historically created, well, it was created in 2008. At the time, it was created with the expectation, not the certainty, that our current building inspector 2 would get promoted to it, and that did not happen. The position, though, has been created. It's a valid personnel board creation. Now, when we adopted the budget, when we adopted this year's fiscal budget, I made the announcement that as part of the budget, we were going to get rid of the absolute hiring promotion freeze. I said we can't open it wide open, but we will be able to do some limited promotions and some limited hiring. Since then, we have hired a court clerk. Since then, we have promoted 5 fire captains. So we have had limited exceptions to the hiring and the promotion list. To address Councilman Butler's concerns, I think Saraland needs a chief building inspector at this point. I think that with the growth of the city, I think that with the demands of the planning board, the Board of Adjustments, floodplain management, and other issues, we are big enough where we need a chief building official. That's why I voted to create the position 2 years ago when we created it. So I do think, and that's just my opinion, I respect Mr. Butler's opinion, but I do think that we do need a chief building official for the city of Saraland.
Well, I agree with you. I was just questioning, going straight to the top, which is my fault. I really wasn't paying a whole lot of attention when we was looking at the opening up the places. When I was reading over the letter of the day, it just dawned on me, okay, we're actually jumping up above what Kenny was. And I just personally thought it'd be better to put someone in that position to, kind of learn our system, prove themselves, and have them be able to move up to it.
And I really wish you had been here for those interviews Saturday. We spent 4 hours doing in-depth interviews with multiple candidates, and it was very impressive, the caliber of what we interviewed. And I was very impressed by several of the candidates we interviewed, and I think that a couple of them do have very things they can contribute to our city that's going to be more than a building inspector too is going to be able to contribute. Other comments?
I do. I want to go on record that I'm against the big jump in salary. And I want that down, that I am against that. We've had a hiring freeze, and all we was doing is trying to replace some people. We've got 8 people out there we laid off. We've got a freeze on merit raises, which is city workers hadn't had in a year. Took that all. Let's treat everybody the same.
What does position pay? What does a position pay?
It varies on, and that's part of what's confusing this, it varies on the experience of the one who gets the position. In other words, we had several candidates who have held equivalent positions in Mobile, but it depends on how long they've been there, how many certifications they have, their experience, their training, their longevity, and that creates a range, and they fall within that range. So, one gentleman that we interviewed basically had just started, and he was towards the lower end of the range. Another gentleman was making $69,000 a year, and he was at the other end of that range. So it just depends on how much training and experience you want to bring. In other words, to me, one way of looking at this, and I respect what the mayor is saying, but you can't treat everybody the same without looking at training and experience. Somebody who's a public service worker, one, is not going to make the same thing as a police chief or a fire chief. I don't care any way you do it. And that's the difference, is training and experience.
When I had a file with the personnel board that broke all this stuff down. I tried my best to find it this weekend, I couldn't.
But anyway, to bring somebody in here that did know the city, did know our system here, for $10,000, I think about $10,200 raise, and has never worked here.
Well, to be fair, again, Mayor, finish what you're saying. I don't want to interrupt.
Well,
Finish what you're saying.
It's causing a big morale problem in